5-star sword-wielding Hydro character Ayato is finally here, and in this video we're going to go over his abilities, talent priority, constellations, best in slot weapons, and artifacts, as well as his rotation and general playstyle to get high value from this character. Timestamps are on the screen as well as in the description, so let's get on with it. Starting off with Ayato's elemental skill, he will enter the Takemeguri Kunka state, which will essentially transform his normal attacks into AoE Hydro damage, and also change his normal attack chain from a 5-hit combo to a 3-hit combo. Though the actual animation doesn't look different, they are individual 3-hit combos because the damage will be different per every 3 hits. It'll be a ramping thing. The unique thing about his elemental skill is the Namisen stacks. Essentially every hit of the Shunsuiken or the hits during his elemental skill will give you 1 Namisen stack, up to a total of 4, and this is a damage bonus based on Ayato's max HP. At level 8 it is 0.96%, obviously going higher at level 10. One thing that I forgot to mention in the original recording is that when you use your elemental skill, you will spawn this Hydro clone that will explode when an enemy gets near it, dealing Hydro damage. Going on to his burst though, it's exactly the same as Ganyu's burst, just Hydro, but here it says increasing the normal attack damage of characters within, so there is a bit of a bonus there. If we look at the skill attributes, it's an 18% damage bonus at level 8. Cool thing to take away though, it is duration of 18 seconds and a cooldown of 20, so you can have about 80% uptime almost, but that also comes at the cost of 80 energy, which would be hard to obtain. But if you have a high energy recharge, obviously you can have near 100% uptime on his elemental burst, which is really good. In terms of talent priority, Ayato is probably one of the simplest characters out there, and don't really want to do his normal attacks unless you obviously want to use him 100% of the time. For main DPS, you're going to want to go for elemental skill. It is the best part of him that is for DPS, whilst his elemental burst is used for a bit more support / sub DPS. Going on to Ayato's first passive, it kind of removes the whole concept of building up your Namisen stacks as you attack, because essentially you will instantly start off with 2 stacks, and then the watery illusion that you gain or that explodes after you use your elemental skill will give you the rest of your stacks. It's kind of like redundant to even have the Namisen stacks at that point, because you'll just have 4 at the start of every elemental skill, but that is essentially what it does. It just removes the need to build up your Namisen stacks because you just essentially start at max. And Ayato's second passive is actually one that really helps him be a very good supporting character with his elemental burst, and essentially if Ayato Kamisato is not on the field and his energy is less than 40, he will regenerate 2 energy to himself every second, essentially making his burst cost a 40 burst cost. If you're using him like a support character, something like a Ganyu, you bring him in, press his Q, take him out, and this really supports and helps him be a good supporting character or support DPS, perma-freeze comp, something along those lines. Okay, quickly taking a look at all of his constellations to see where there is diminishing return, and quick hint, there really is not much diminishing return. He has extremely high value in every single constellation. Constellation 1, Shunsuiken damage is increased by 40% against enemies with 50% or less. He becomes an executor character, really good actually. Shunsuiken is just the damage in his elemental skill, makes him a higher DPS in the below 50%, execute phase, 100% damage, amazing, great, high value. Constellation 2 though, Namisen's maximum stack is increased to 5, which is essentially the stuff that's based on your HP, as well as when he has 3 stacks, his max HP is increased by 50%, which is again another massive damage increase. It kind of just synergizes well with the whole concept, so extremely high value here. It might not be as high as C1, but it is very good still. C4, attack speed during his elemental burst is increased, as well as normal attack damage, so just it buffs him and maybe other characters like Hu Tao extremely well if you use his burst and stay within his burst, obviously. Attack speed is something that's not really prominent in the game, so any avenue to get it, I do encourage it. It is a very strong thing, but obviously it is C4, slightly less value than C1 and 2, but still really good. And then C6 is just your first few attacks with your Shunsui can do an extremely high amount of damage, or 450% of Ayato's attack, which is extremely good, but it is only the first 2 hits or the first 2 iterations of Shunsuiken during his elemental skill, that do it. For bursting down enemies extremely quickly, probably extremely high value. Would I recommend going to C6? Probably not, just because that's all it is just a massive hit of damage, which I guess that's all we want really, right? Where I would recommend anyone stopping is probably like C1 or 2. That is like really high value for the amount of investment. whilst anything further is probably not as high value. So C1 or C2 is really, really high value. Everything else is just if you really desire it. Weapons, weapons, weapons. miHoYo has made it super, super simple as to what weapons are the best for him, and it's literally any DPS weapon. All of these on the screen right now work. They get the job done. I don't recommend going for an energy recharge weapon because of his second passive, the whole recharging to 40 energy off when he's off field, because that negates the 80 cost burst. Really, it becomes a 40 cost burst, so there's no real reason to go for an energy recharge weapon. So any of the DPS weapons are super good. Obviously, the best ones are going to be Mist Splitter Reforged, the Harange Pakufutsu, or something like the Jade Cutter. They're going to be the highest value, but any of them are going to work just fine. Jumping over to the artifacts, for Ayato, there is quite a discrepancy between using his elemental skill and using his elemental burst in terms of artifacts. For his elemental skill, it's pretty simple. Echoes of an Offering is going to be really, really good. Gladiator's Finale is going to be really, really good. And Shimenawa's extremely, extremely good. They're 4-set variants, obviously. These 3 artifact sets are going to be what you're going to want to use for his elemental skill. Hydro damage artifact, probably not. I don't see the value there. Obviously, it does work if you combo, obviously, Gladiators and Hydro. You will get damage. But in terms of the 4-set of these other ones, they work extremely well with Ayato, just conceptually. He's just a normal attack guy. These ones are normal attack damage boosting. So these 3 are going to work extremely well for his elemental skill. While for his elemental burst, Emblem of Severed Fate 4-set is going to be probably peak. It's going to be the highest amount of burst damage that you can get. But you obviously could go for something like Noblesse Oblige with Wanderer's Trope, just for a bit of a reaction. Or Noblesse Oblige Hydro damage. Something like that could get you high value. I'm not building him for his burst, so I'm not really sure exactly. But, you know, I'd probably just recommend Emblem of Severed Fate. That's just going to get you the most raw damage out of it. Okay, now going over and looking at Ayato's gameplay rotation and how to use his skill and burst and whatnot, I'm not going to be popping Zhangling or Kaya's burst, but that is what you would probably do in a general gameplay. You'd pop other characters' bursts or skills, and then jump into using Ayato's skill as well. But for the sake of just Ayato, we're going to just use him. And essentially, the concept is you want to get exactly 15 hits out from his elemental skill, which entails using his attacks the moment that you are able to after pressing his elemental skill button. If you wait about half a second, you will miss out on the final 15th hit. Now, obviously, this isn't taking consideration that you can get attack speed bonuses that can probably increase your hit count. This is just using him by himself, no extra attack speed bonuses or anything like that. And so, you spawn some enemies, press elemental skill, and then go straight in. And in total, you will get 15 hits if you attack the moment you are able to. Do bear in mind, I think I said this in the skill, but you can just hold the button down to make sure that you are obviously hitting all the time. Again, skill, and then hold the button down, just like this. And Ayato will do all of his attacks. And it's pretty straightforward. For his elemental burst, it's again, you want to be popping for his elemental burst other characters' abilities because that is how you get value out of it. His elemental burst is just a hydro popping, and this will be where other characters shine because obviously his elemental burst is built for supporting. Obviously we just did a bunch of melt reactions there with Zhangling and Ayato's thing. But the biggest thing about his burst is that it does last for 18 seconds, so you can get a lot of value. It's still going. It's still going. It's one of the longest bursts, I think. One of the longest lasting bursts in the game, probably alongside Garnu. So that is the synergy that you can obviously do there. Super long length. You pop that, then you pop other characters' stuff, and you're just doing a bunch of reactions. Hydro is a super strong reaction. Freezing is really high value. And that is Ayato, guys. That's pretty much everything that I think there is to do with Ayato. He's not an overly complicated character, but he can have a few tidbits that need to be mentioned, obviously, with the holding down the left click and whatnot. But hope you guys did learn something, did enjoy, and it helps you build Ayato a bit better. And I hope everyone who's rolling for Ayato does get him quickly. You can stop by the stream probably right now to see me roll for Ayato. We'll be trying to get him and his weapon with minimal rolls. We've got 3,000 Primo Gems. We're praying to the RNG lords to get him. So stop by the stream right now on this channel to watch me fail and suffer. And if you did enjoy the video, like, subscribe, and Comment down below if you have Ayato, what are your builds, what weapons are you using, and if you like the character at all, really. Till the next video, till the next guide, guys, stay hydrated, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.